Or this was your deal and you wound him up and kept him loose. So which of those two is it?
On the night of the 27th of February, 2024, a quiet neighborhood in Clackamas County, Washington, was jolted awake by the sharp sound of gunfire. The victim, Nathan Anderson, a young man described by neighbors as gentle and reserved. He was found collapsed in front of an apartment, shot 3 times in the chest and back. No signs of struggle. No defensive wounds, just a chilling silence and a sudden, senseless death. Police arrived at the scene within 10 minutes of a 911 call made by a neighbor who heard screams. Reviewing security cameras in the area, they spotted a suspicious vehicle leaving the scene right after the shots were fired. The license plate was traced to Cody Denewith, 29 years old, a resident of the same county. Living with him was his fiancée, Dominique Britt, 27. At first, both denied any involvement, but within 72 hours, cracks began to show. Text messages between Dominique and Cody revealed heated conversations about Nathan, a man Dominique had accused of sexually assaulting her just a week earlier. There was no police report, no official complaint, just her word and Cody's rage, growing with each message. The interrogations began. Cameras captured both of them in separate rooms. 2 faces, 2 expressions, and 2 stories that didn't match. Cody claimed he only wanted to confront Nathan. Dominique said she had no idea Cody planned to bring a gun. But one text shattered that narrative. "He'll never touch you again. I'll make sure of that," Cody wrote. This was no longer a case of self-defense. It was a plan, a premeditated act, a crime disguised as protection. If you're drawn to stories told like cinematic investigations, follow Echoes of the Court, where we uncover the most unsettling truths hidden behind courtroom walls. Cody Denewith and Dominique Britt were not strangers to local police. They had appeared in several minor domestic calls, not violent, but enough to raise concern among neighbors. Their love was intense, but so were their fights. According to Dominique's relatives, it was like watching a time bomb waiting to explode. So what could make Cody pull the trigger over a claim that had never been verified? The answer began with Dominique. During her initial interrogation, Dominique wept. She told detectives that Nathan Anderson, an acquaintance, had assaulted her during a visit to his home, something Cody hadn't known about. Her voice trembled. Her eyes were red. To an untrained observer, it seemed real, but the detectives weren't convinced. They asked her to file a formal report. She refused. They asked for evidence. She had none. Meanwhile, Cody sat in another room. He appeared calm but hollow-eyed, rage simmering beneath the surface. He swore Dominique was telling the truth. He said he only wanted Nathan to explain himself. But when asked why he brought a gun, Cody went quiet. He lowered his head, then exhaled. In a leaked clip from the interrogation, he said something chilling. "She begged me to do something." A man, driven by love. A woman, swallowed by either trauma or deception. And in the middle, a man now dead. Police dug deeper into the messages. They found phrases that raised red flags. "He deserves worse. I wish I could do it myself." Most damning of all, Cody wrote, "I don't care what it costs. I'll protect you no matter what." At this point, the investigation wasn't just about who pulled the trigger. It was about reconstructing the emotional architecture behind a toxic triangle. Nathan Anderson, 31, was a freelance graphic designer, single, with no criminal record and no history of violence or sexual misconduct. As investigators began digging into Nathan's life, they expected to find at least some clear connection between him and Dominique. But all they uncovered were brief, polite, and rather distant messages, nothing resembling intimacy, threats, or obsession. Dominique claimed Nathan assaulted her during a solo visit to his home to pick up some belongings. But her timeline, the location, and even what she said she wore that day changed with every retelling. When asked why she didn't go to a hospital, she said she was too afraid. But on her phone, police found a video from that very day at a party, just hours after the alleged incident where Dominique laughed, danced, and appeared carefree. And then came the last text Nathan ever sent to Dominique. "Let me know when you get home safe." A simple, gentle message. The kind you'd send to someone you care about. Someone you'd never dream would later accuse you of assault and whose boyfriend would soon end your life. Nathan never had a chance to respond. He didn't even know a storm was brewing. He trusted. He listened. And he died for it. When investigators confronted Dominique with the contradictions, her demeanor shifted. She claimed Cody overreacted, that she had just vented and never told him to do anything. But an audio clip captured from a phone call between the two, accidentally recorded while Cody's phone was still running, revealed something darker. She had whispered, "I wish he didn't exist." Not a stray thought, a seed of intent. 3 weeks into the investigation, with dozens of hours of interrogation and a digital trail that left little to the imagination, the case began to crystallize. Cody Denewith had shot and killed Nathan Anderson in what he framed as an act of love-fueled justice. But the law does not accept vengeance as justification, especially when the supposed wrongdoing was never reported, never verified, and never proven. At first, Cody maintained his innocence. But as detectives laid out the messages, search history, and contradictions between his and Dominique's stories, the truth pressed in. His public defender urged him to consider a plea. If he didn't, he could face life without parole. Eventually, Cody accepted a deal. He pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter. In exchange, the murder charge was dropped. His sentence, 27 years and 6 months in prison. But what about Dominique? She didn't pull the trigger. She wasn't at the scene. Yet her messages, her suggestions, her silence before and after the killing told another story. Prosecutors charged her with criminally negligent participation in the planning of a homicide. Under pressure, Dominique also accepted a plea. First-degree reckless endangerment. Her sentence, 12 years and 6 months. The courtroom split. Some believed the sentences were fair. Others insisted Dominique was the real instigator, the one who planted the seed, lit the fuse, and watched from a distance. As Cody was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, Nathan Anderson's mother whispered just 4 words. "You killed my son." A whisper. But it echoed like thunder across everyone in the room. With sentencing behind them, many assumed the case of Cody Denewith and Dominique Britt was over. But its ripple effects continued to disturb not just Clackamas County, but legal circles across Washington state. Because this wasn't just a crime, it was a cautionary tale about the deadly cost of misplaced trust, unchecked emotion, and accusations made in the dark. A question lingered in every discussion. If Dominique hadn't told Cody about what Nathan allegedly did, or if he had simply stopped to ask for proof, would Nathan still be alive? Dominique's defense argued that she never asked Cody to kill. But when the prosecution presented her texts expressing anger, paranoia, and wishing Nathan would disappear, that argument cracked. No one knew exactly what Dominique said to Cody in private, but that was the danger. When words go unchecked and emotions are weaponized, they can become more lethal than bullets. Legal analysts and victim advocacy groups debated fiercely. Some viewed Cody as a man manipulated by someone he loved. Others saw him as someone who made his own choice, triggered not by love, but by ego and blind anger. The truth likely lies in between. And that's what makes the case so haunting. A blend of love, fear, miscommunication, and moral collapse. At a small memorial, Nathan's family offered no public statement. They simply placed a framed quote near his portrait. He listened, he trusted, and he paid with his life. In June 2024, 3 months after sentencing, interrogation footage of Cody Denewith and Dominique Britt was released to the public under Freedom of Information laws. The internet erupted. People saw Cody barely holding it together, stoic at first, then quietly unraveling. They saw a Dominique crying, avoiding, calculating. And soon, public opinion fractured into 2 camps, those who defended them and those who condemned them both. One viral Reddit comment called it Amber and Johnny, only this time someone died. Because here, there would be no countersuit, no second trial. Nathan Anderson was gone. His version of events would never be heard. The most disturbing realization: Nathan may have died because of a story that was never investigated, only believed by the wrong person at the wrong time. On a law crime segment, a retired homicide investigator summed it up like this: if you remove Dominique's story, Cody had no reason to even find Nathan. This wasn't a random outburst. This was preloaded emotion, given direction. Cody now serves time in a medium security facility in Washington. Dominique, shortly after intake, requested a transfer due to threats from other inmates' women who called her the real killer. In a letter to his attorney, Cody wrote, "I loved her more than my own life. And now that life is 6 feet underground." That letter is the only time he ever referred to Nathan Anderson as a life, not a victim, not a name. A life. One that never should have been lost because of a story no one dared to question. Cody Denewith is expected to be released around 2051, assuming good behavior. Dominique Britt could walk free much sooner, possibly by 2036. But Nathan Anderson? He'll never see another day. And that's what makes the final question of this case so difficult to answer. Was justice actually served, and if so, for whom? For Nathan's family, there was no call for the death penalty, no push for vengeance. What they wanted was truth. A clear accounting of what really happened. Who lied? Who acted? Who failed to pause and ask why? No one could give them that. Clackamas County law enforcement stated they did everything possible with the available evidence. Still, critics argued the system failed to develop reliable tools for assessing the truth behind private accusations, especially when such claims could ignite deadly consequences. The Denewith Britt case has since become a staple in criminal law classrooms across the U.S. Known now as a case of moral fog, it highlights the perilous blur between guilt and grief, love and manipulation, emotion and accountability. Nathan Anderson, by all accounts, a quiet man who kept to himself, never even saw it coming. He was a cat lover, a remote designer, someone who posted just days before his death. "Kindness is the only way I know how to exist." And yet he died not because of anything he did, but because of what someone else believed he did. In hindsight, the true horror of this case isn't just the murder. It's that it might have been prevented if even one person had stopped, asked a question, and waited for the truth. This is Echoes of the Court, where justice is more than a verdict. It's the haunting silence left behind when it fails to speak.